Hey there, it's Kathy with Be Creative with Kathy. And in today's card, I'm going to use the Merry Snowflakes stamp set. My card today is a swap that I do as a team, and so I made a bunch of them, and I thought I would share it with you. But you can find the Merry Snowflakes stamp set in the new mini catalog. It also has some coordinating dies that are called the Stitch Snowflake dies. Let me show you what they look like. They look like this. Now, three of these three outlines cut out the 3 snowflakes here in the stamp set, and then the 3 insides can do like the little stitching, if you can see there on my little sample pieces. That's what these do. And then these 5 out here cut out beautiful snowflakes. And I have some projects, some cards that I made at the end of the video or at the end of this to show you what those do. And then this just makes beautiful cut marks into your paper, as do these two too. So if you know, maybe you don't know, but if you do, usually you know, if you buy the 2 together, you buy the stamp set and the dies together, you can get a 10% discount. So you buy them as a bundle. There's a bundle item number at my online store, and you can get it that way and get a little bit of a discount. But let me show you the card that we're making. Looks like this. I think it's really pretty. We're going to make our own kind of designer series paper. And the first thing I want to tell you is that when I did this, I realized that you need to ink your ink pads. You need to make sure your ink pads are really juicy and user-friendly when you do this card, and it makes life so much easier. So I've recently just inked my ink pads, and one of these days I'm going to get a quick tip video on how you can ink your ink pads to make it easier, in case you need some instruction on how to do that. I'm going to start with a full sheet here. It's 8.5 by 11 of basic white. And let's see our colors. I have my stamps all mounted here. We're going to use, let me get it in the camera, Highland Heather, Coastal Cabana, and Balmy Blue. And all I did was go to our color coach, and if you're not familiar with our color coach, you need to talk to your demonstrator. You can ask me. Stampin' Up! Has, let me show it to you. Now, mine's a little bit outdated. In fact, look, this says 2021, 2020, 2020, 2021. I haven't done the 2022 yet. But you get these things like this. So if you go to the Highland Heather, you can see here that Highland Heather and, oh, and I lied. Maybe I didn't go to my color coach. No, you know, I didn't go to my color coach. I went to some of the designer series paper that's in the celebration, and that's what I looked. But anyway, my bad. I think they look really pretty together. We're going to start with the Highland Heather and that largest snowflake. I'm going to ink up my image here, and I'm going to just stamp randomly, taking my time. I'm not going to put a lot of pressure on my ink pad or my paper so I don't get the edge of the stamp set or the edge of the stamp, and I get a nice image. I'm trying to kind of leave a little bit of room between each snowflake for the other 2 snowflakes that we're going to stamp on here. But not too much, because I want to make sure I have lots of this Highland Heather on my card front. I hope that makes sense. And it might take a little bit of practice to get them positioned, but every time I've done this a few times, and every time, whether it looks like it's messed up or it looks like I did a good job, the paper just turns out really pretty, probably because of the vibrant colors. So what do you think? Look pretty good. I'm going to do one more way down here in the corner. Okay, let's put the Highland Heather away and bring out the Coastal Cabana, because the Coastal Cabana I'm going to do the second largest snowflake with, or the middle snowflake, whichever, and I'm going to kind of fill in now here. Look how vibrant those colors are now that I've re-inked my ink pads. I think it's just beautiful. And I'm going to just go around these larger ones and just stamp down one up here in the corner. Okay, then last but of course not least, we're going to bring in that Balmy Blue and the smallest snowflake, and I'm going to just fill in those places now. carefully putting my stamp set flat on the paper so I don't get the edge. See how there's ink even on the edge of my stamp? But when you go straight down, straight up, nope, see, looky right there. Shame on me. I'm gonna take my time and make sure, there we go. Straight down, straight up. I'm gonna just turn my paper. There we go. Now I have my paper. Look how pretty it is already. Now I'm also going to take, I call this just like a little wing-a-ding, or maybe it's the wind, but I'm going to ink it up in Balmy Blue, stamp it off. And now I'm going to stamp in all of those white places. And here, that little error I had right here, I'm going to even take the wing-a-ding, the breeze, the wind, I don't know what this is, and I'm going to cover that up. And now look how I've hidden it. It's gone now. But let me keep going. I'm going to just fill in all of this white. Sometimes you notice I turn my stamp just so it gets a little bit of variety. With the images, we don't want it to look symmetrical. Oh, look, I forgot to stamp off on that one. Oh well. And now I put my arm on my ink pad. Get the edge down here. Almost done. Okay, now let's sit back and look for a minute and see if we see any places that need some more stamping. And see, I think that looks just right, just like that. I think it turned out really pretty. So now let's cut this down to size. We're done with that, with the paper. So I have my paper trimmer here, and we want it to be a layer on a layer. So we want it 5 inches by 3 3/4. So using my paper trimmer here, I'm going to take and look at it to see, do I like this side better or do I like this side better? And to be honest with you, I can't tell the difference. So I'm going to just take it at 10 inches and cut it here. And then slide it over to 5 and cut it again. And then I'm going to put these 2 pieces together. I'm going to look again to see which edge I like better, and to me they both turned out really nice. I'm not going to worry about it, and I'm going to cut this down to 7 1/2, and I'm going to push really hard because I'm going through 2 pieces of basic white now. So cut that down there, and then I'm going to go slide it over to 3 3/4 and cut that paper again. And now I have 4 of my card front pieces. Well, maybe I do. Yep, they're just like that. Okay, so let's cut some more paper. I have another piece of basic white here, and this is what we're going to use for the inside. So I'm going to take this one really quick here, and I'm going to cut it at 8, and then at 4, and then I'm going to slide that in to 10 1/2. I hope you can see what I'm doing here, but this is the fastest and easiest way, I believe, to cut your cardstock. And then I have this one, I'm going to cut it at 5 1/4. And now I have 4 pieces ready for the inside of my card. And we'll stamp those in just a second, but let's go ahead and cut our card bases. This is the Highland Heather. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to slide it in here at 4 1/4 and move my cutting blade down to the bottom. I want to use my scoring blade here, the lighter color one, and I'm going to just score it and then turn it and put it the 11 piece at the top and cut it in half at 5 1/2, and now I have 2 card bases. So let's do that one more time. I'm going to put my Highland Heather in here at 4 1/4. Now this is the 8 1/2 inch at the top. I guess I should scoot it this way. There we go. Now you can see the 8 1/2 at the top. I'm going to put it at 4 1/4. I'm going to move my cutting blade here, the dark one, down to the bottom. Use my scoring blade, score that, then turn it so the 11 inch is at the top and slide it at 5 1/2, and then cut it in half, and now I have the 2 card bases. Okay, last piece. This is going to be a layer for the front of our card. This is Coastal Cabana. This one I'm also going to cut at 8 and then at 4. So then we have 2 pieces that are 4 by 11. And then I'm going to take those together, put it in at the 10 1/2, and then slide that over to 5 1/4. And now I have 4 pieces for a layer on my card front. Okay, now we're done cutting paper. Let's go ahead and get our card bases done. A quick fold here on that score line. I'm going to use my bone folder. Try to get it straight. There we go. Oh, let me get rid of all these scraps too. Now I have room to work. 2, 3. So if you missed the measurements that I did, you can always find the measurements and all the supplies that I used on my blog, and that's becreativewithkathy.com. Okay, and then we're going to take these, and with just a little bit of adhesive, I'm going to use my Stampin' Seal, and just a little bit here. And layer these right here. And now, to be honest with you, that's not what I want to do. I like to take this piece. It's amazing the funny things you do when you're in front of camera and a little bit nervous. But I'm going to take them and put them on here first. I like to do it this way, layer it this way. And then I'm going to take this piece. Okay, there we go. And layer it on here. And look how pretty our card is already. Just like that. Okay, let's take this one that I layered the other. I noticed too that when you're using your Stampin' Seal, if you're having trouble with the tape not like cooperating, it's probably because you're pushing too hard. I tend to do that on videos when I get nervous, but if you just like softly run it along there, it doesn't, it grips the paper, or it just works way better with the soft touch compared to the hard touch or the firm touch. I don't know what you would call it. But look, now that I've calmed down and used the light touch, I don't have any trouble with my tape runner anymore. There we go, one more. I think I was trying to hurry, and I don't need to hurry. I'm going to take my time and make 4 beautiful cards. And then one more. Right there. There we go. Okay, so let's do just a little bit more stamping on the inside and then on our greeting. So I did use my stitch rectangle dies to cut out, and I used the middle 2 of this side over here, and I have 4 pieces of vellum and 4 pieces of basic white. Now if you don't have a die cut machine and you don't have dies, all you'd have to do is cut rectangles, oops, sorry, I'm out of camera, like this, that would coordinate together and lay nicely. And the reason I like the vellum behind the white is so you can see the pretty paper that we just made through the background, or through the back of the vellum. Okay, let's do, like I said, some stamping. First though, I need to clean my little wing-a-ding or breeze or whatever, and I want to show you what I have here. So I take my chamois and I cut it in half and I put it into a plastic bag like that. That way I can lay my chamois on my bag so it doesn't mess up my paper because it's a little bit damp. And usually I use my chamois like this when I go to classes, or if I'm going to a camp, or if I'm stamping somewhere on the go. But right now I can't find my full-size chamois. So if you have an extra chamois, you cut it in half and you put it in a baggie like this, and you can take it with you, and it's really simple to use. And so that's what I'm using until I can find my full chamois. Okay, and I'm gonna bring in that Coastal Cabana ink, and just real quick, like, I'm gonna stamp this little breeze, wing-a-ding, whatever we decided to call it, right here at the top. 1, 2, 3, 4. And really, when I did my swaps for my teammates and mailed them out, I even took that little wing-a-ding and I stamped it on the flap of my envelope to kind of coordinate with my card. So you could do that too. Then, with some of that Highland Heather, I'm going to take these words that are in the stamp set that say, may your days be merry and bright and all your Christmases be white. And I'm going to just stamp that right here under my little wing-a-ding. And I'm not applying a lot of pressure since I re-inked my ink pad. I don't have to apply a lot of pressure. I just have to hold it firm and let the ink and paper do their work. Let them do their thing. So looky there, and we just have one more. I think I got them straight. To be honest with you, I'm not sure. You'll have to let me know. There we go. Okay, and then on the smallest, or really it's the second to smallest of those rectangles that I cut out earlier, I'm going to just stamp this Merry Everything right here in the center. And there's 4 of them. There we go. Okay, let's put all of this away, give us some room to work, and we'll just assemble all of our cards. And believe it or not, I think we're actually going to get 4 cards done with just a little bit of prep work beforehand in like 20 to 30 minutes. I'm going to put the insides here real quick. So I think this would be a Christmas card you could do like multiples of. And yet it's simple, but it's really pretty. I love the colors. I wonder if because I really thought I got that from my color coach. You'll have to, well, maybe you shouldn't go back and watch the beginning of the video, but maybe it was from the Designer Series paper. But those 3 colors together are really pretty. Right there. And then the last one. A light touch with your adhesive sure does help. No problems that time. There we go. Now let's take these, and I'm just going to put, oop, don't look. Must have used a scratch paper to cut that one. We'll lay this right here. Let's see if they're all, nope, that one doesn't have any ink on the back of him. Well, a little bit, but never throw away those scraps or boo-boos. You can just turn it over and use them again. Oh, and I almost did it without any problems. Okay, and then the last one right here. Okay, then I'm going to bring in some dimensionals on the back of these. And under where you can see the white, so you can't see the dimensionals where the vellum is, just make sure you don't miss the white part up back here. Get those backs off. And then right down there. And then last one right here. And then after I put this one on, we just need to add a little bling to those snowflakes. So I'm gonna bring in these, and what are these called? These are called those opal rounds. I love how these look. They kind of have that iridescent and kind of the same colors that I used on my snowflakes. So with my take a pick tool, I'm gonna take the big ones and put those on the purple. It's too big to get with my, on the purple flowers or the Highland Heather. So a couple big ones here. And then these smaller ones I'm going to put in the centers of those other snowflakes. Let's see. One, well, he's not cooperating. There we go. And then the last one here. Well, booger. There we go. There's one. And so you don't have to watch, you get the idea of how pretty the card is. I'll put those other opal rounds on later. Let me show you the finished card. It looks like this, and how pretty it is with all those little bling or gems in the center. So let me show you some sample cards I use with using that die set that coordinates with the stamp set. So the first one is just like we did here, our card, only then I went ahead and cut those snowflakes out and just popped them up a little bit, so it adds a little bit of character to the card. And that's using those outlines. I don't know if you can see, I even use the stitching on top of my stamping, but you almost can't see it. All right, so then the next one here, this one is where I took and just cut out those really pretty snowflakes, and I use that bedazzling paper that's free in the Celebration catalog right now. And then this Merry Christmas to You is just another stamp set. Sorry, it's the Holly and Jolly stamp set. This also is the free Celebration Designer Series paper that coordinates with the deer, I believe. I'd have to double check on that one. Then this one here, now this is where I used this long strip that just makes the cuts in the paper, and look how pretty that is as a strip down here. And then I also just used the die cuts that cut out the snowflake and then put the stitching. And this here, the sides here, I used the Simply Elegant trim. It's in the annual catalog, just to give the edge to that blue strip of paper. And then I did on the inside, I put a little snowflake to cover up where the ends meet on the inside. And these here are those, what are these called? The blue adhesive back gems. That's the gems that I use that I think coordinates really well. And then, or with the balmy blue. And this here is the fancy silver paper that's in the annual catalog that I put behind my Merry Everything greeting. Okay, and then if you noticed when you did the stitched snowflakes, the outside has this pretty stitching on there, so I thought we need to use that for a shaker card. And this one's probably my least favorite card, but I'm going to show it to you anyway just to give you an idea. So I took this and I cut those out and I put those little sequins from, they're called the shimmery sequins from the Cabin Suite. and I cut the silver snowflakes out to just add some of that. The same kind of greeting with the Mary and the foil, so you could see the shaker, and I won't shake that, make you sick. But there's my shaker card that I used that die. Oop, didn't even finish the center. But there you go. So there's my cards for today. I hope you'll try giving your own, making your own designer series paper or background paper, because look how many cards I have now. I made 4 here in what, like 30 minutes. All right, like I said again, if you need the measurements, they're on my blog, BeCreativeWithKathy.com, and you can find all the product at my online store, kathyhouse.stampinup.net. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you back here Monday with another card. Bye-bye.